with a double-digit lead here at the break. We look at the tail of the tape. Neither team shooting particularly well from beyond the arc, but the rebounding edge for Columbia and the fast break points.
Cornell needs a few second chance points and cutting into that rebounding deficit. When they can get back in transition defense, set up their five, they've done a nice job, but you can see Columbia has really taken advantage when they can't get back in transition defense.
So at the break, Columbia in front of Cornell, 37-26. As the Lions trying to improve to 2-0 in the early stages of Ivy League play, the Big Red will need a rally to get their first win in league play. We'll step aside and return with the second half right after this.
Hockey means the world to me.
Elevate how you hydrate and keep it smart with Smart Water Alkaline.
What's the story of athletic brewing? Well, it all started with a crazy idea.
Why can't there just be an amazing non-alcoholic beer that keeps up with my busy life that wouldn't affect me the next day?
So when did you know you were onto something?
Like an hour ago?
New York, the Wonder City.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with TicketSmarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. TicketSmarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with a TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think TicketSmarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed at TicketSmarter.com.
Gearing up for the start of the second half here inside Levy and Jim, with Columbia leading Cornell by 11. Kilgo, we talked about Barn in foul trouble for the majority of the first half, but they'll be getting her back to start the third quarter, and that's a key factor and player for the Big Red here in the second half.
Being their point guard, a facilitator, somebody who can not only score but can create for others, she's huge. But who else is going to take the challenge that was presented at halftime? It can't be a two-woman show. It needs to be all five. Coach Smith talks about how they don't have a superstar. On the offensive end and defensive end, it has to be team basketball. Who's going to step up and help Emily Pape?
The number is so lopsided in favor of Pape. She's taken 11 of her team's 25 shots. She's made 7 of the 9 field goals. Can they tip the scales a little bit here in the third? Kenny Henderson knocks down the trifecta to get the party going for Columbia, as Kitty's now in double figures with 11.
Great first possession for Columbia, solid, nothing was rushed. They scored rather than turning it over.
And that was a problem area for Columbia. First 2 quarters, 15 turnovers. Cornell tries to go inside to Pape. Fliss knocks it away. And Kitty looking back the other way. The scoop shot just short on her release. And Kilgo comes through with the rebound. Kilgo drops it off to Parker Hall. Cannot lay it home. Missed opportunity for the Big Red underneath. Collins has the size advantage over Kilgo, and she can't capitalize underneath, as Cornell dodged the bullet on that one.
Nice recognition by Columbia to post up. A little mouse in the house. Kilgo already with those 2 fouls.
Mouse in the house, I like it, as this is going to stay on this side of the court here. They'll put 20 on the shot clock. Now, was that an experimentation? Did it take weeks to fine-tune that? I'd love to know the process behind that phrase.
A lot of scouting reports will say Mouse in the House or Mickey Mouse when they want to post up a smaller guard.
And speaking of guards, Ingram finding a crack in the Columbia D to draw the foul. It's going to go against Abby Shue.
Little shot fake. Gets Abby Shue's hips in the air, which allows the advantage to go to the offense and the attack.
That's the second missed free throw for Cornell. 7 of 9. Ingram now 2 of 3. She comes in at 74%. Senior out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Doubled her scoring average last season. Lauren, they're looking for her to take the next step, but unfortunately she was slowed by a very serious injury over the offseason and missed all of the work this fall. As Columbia catches Cornell sleeping and Kitty mishandles it, but it was off of Parker Hall, so it is going to stay here with Columbia.
Talk about a crazy bounce.
That's why the Lions were jumping up and down off the bench. One gift leads to another. Great ball movement. Fliss wide open from the corner. Overshot that one, and Kilgo is now looking to speed through the Columbia D. Off the crossover, another one leans in. Parker Hall is there, and a foul underneath. We're going to get this against Perry Page. That'll be her second.
Cornell has come out much more aggressive. Part of that is Kilgo being on the floor, but looking at that attack on the offensive glass, pursuing the basketball, getting a second opportunity for the Big Red.
Well, Columbia's +6 on the offensive glass, so a much-needed rebound on this end for Cornell. Parker Hall, with her first free throw attempts today, comes in at 72%. Junior out of Chicago. She is their defensive enforcer. And you saw that by giving her teammates a second chance opportunity and then applying it to the free throw line. And an ill-advised pass broken up. Back the other way is Beam, and Beam draws a blocking foul against Cecilia Collins. So Marin, 2 more free throws coming here for Cornell.
The aggressiveness. Cornell's attacking in the offensive glass, but look at this trap here. Active hands. When the players are in a trap, it's not those 2 Cornell players that are looking to get the steal. They're just trying to make it a difficult pass, and their teammates will get the steal. And that's exactly what you saw happen as Beam came up and got the basketball after it was deflected.
Beam is the best free throw shooter on the team, 92%. These are her first 2 attempts today. And no surprise, Kilgo was involved in the trap, who we talked about providing a spark. And we have a 10-point game. Make that 9 now as she hit the second.
Beam's coming off a little bit gimpy.
So Columbia this time breaks down the press as Kitty enters the front court. They look to reverse it. Abby with 4 points. Shuffles it across. 14 on the shot clock. Fliss in the corner to Collins. And the rebound by Kitty. So another second chance opportunity. As the Lions have 10 offensive rebounds. And then an armbar foul underneath as Clark Jackson is going to be charged with her first.
Kitty Henderson started this possession with an offensive rebound. But you see it, Abby Shue being aggressive. And Clark Jackson still probably adjusting to college athletics there. Has to keep her hands off. And now Kilgo, you can see the emotion, very frustrated with getting called for now her 3rd foul. She had such a positive impact on the first 2:20 of this second half. Does this 3rd whistle, does that temper her aggressiveness at all.
Kitty off the inbounds. That doesn't temper her aggressiveness as she puts it in. So Kitty Henderson with 13 points. The second player in double figures, one for each team in this game. Kitty now has scored in double figures the last 4 games. And she is shooting over 50% from the field during this stretch. 6 on the shot clock for Cornell. Ingram scooping it, not finishing, and Kitty grabs the loose ball. They get it in the corner to Abby. And Ingram crashes the glass, and then a reach-in on Columbia. They're going to get it on Nicole Stevens, and that is going to be her third.
A little trickery on that inbounds play. Looks like Kitty Henderson is going out to the perimeter, or at least not paying attention. You can tell Abby Shue and Kitty Henderson have played a lot of basketball together. They just had to make eye contact for that pass to be efficient.
Stevens comes off the court after picking up her third personal. Riley Weiss in. Pate handing off to Kilgo, who stays in the game with 3 personals and a whistle away from the basketball. And they're going to get it against Fliss Henderson. That'll be number 1 on her. So Susie Raffu is going to come in. Collins will get a breather. And as a result of that being the 15th foul already, Maren, here in the third, more free throws for Parker Hall.
That's huge for Cornell. Coming out of this third quarter, being so aggressive. Every whistle against Columbia now will be 2 foul shots for Cornell. It's only a 10-point basketball game. They can only dig into this if they continue to be aggressive.
And also slow down the pace of this game to not allow Columbia to get out in transition, which is the style and brand of basketball they like to play.
It doesn't take Columbia many seconds to score.
And just as we say that, Shue slowed down, out to Fliss, the extra pass to Weiss. Ring it up. Riley Weiss from downtown, she's got 6, and Columbia up by 12.
Columbia averages 9 made threes a game, and they only had 3 in that first quarter. Only a matter of time before they hit their average. Nice interior battle.
Parker Hall, too hard off the glass. Shue leading Weiss to the bucket. Stops, pops, and lays it in. Riley Weiss with a 5-0 run. And Dana Smith wants to talk things over as Cornell looking to grab a breather with Columbia in control thanks to the transition. Abby up ahead to Weiss, finishing at the rim. 14-point lead.
New York, the Wembley Center.
Riley Weiss elevating Columbia, Maren off the bench here.
8 points in 7 minutes of play. First the 3, then out in transition, finishing versus contact. Great spark off the bench for Columbia.
And it is a confidence booster for her, considering the last 3 games, Weiss shooting just 17% from the field, 12% from beyond the arc. Well, she's 3 of 4 today, including 2 of 3 from downtown.
And just really taking easy shots. That's a great way to get your confidence back up. Shoot the open 3, run in transition, get yourself to the foul line.
Kilgo looking for Pate, the turnaround jumper, rolls in, and Pate now has 17 of her team's 35. Abby off the crossover. Ingram able to regroup. Here's Fliss, caught underneath by Pate. The handoff to Raffu, knocked out of her hands, out of play, will stay with the Lions. Megan Griffith looking for a team to pick up the pace here. Bounce pass to Shu. And they're going to say it last touch Shu before it went out of play. And that was a great recovery, Maren, by Parker Hall to fluster Shu.
Cornell's done a nice job of making it difficult for Abby Shu all night. They wanted her to see 1.5 people every time she touched the basketball. Clearly that's paying off as she only has 4 points and we're already halfway through the third quarter.
And a whistle away from the ball. It's going to be another foul charge against Columbia. That's going to be the second on Raffu, and that is the 6th. So more free throws coming here for Cornell. And if you're Columbia, this is not what you want to do. Allow them to cut into the deficit with a clock stop.
Summer Parker Hall, really a physical low block presence. The more active you are on the low block as an offensive player, it really puts the pressure on the defender. And so far, Susie Raffu has been called for 2 fouls.
Parker Hall is now 5 of 5 from the line. And you can make it 6 of 6. And that's the thing, Mara, about Cornell. It's one thing to earn trips to the line. It's another thing to make the opposition pay. They're 16 of 18 in that department today. Abby left all alone. You don't want to do that because of that result. And with that bucket, Abby Shu now in sole possession of 10th place on the Ivy League all-time scoring list.
Feet set. No hand in her face. Same play here, looking to isolate Raffu on the low block.
10 on the shot clock for the Big Red. Jackson off the dribble, the floater, gets it to go with 2 defenders in her vicinity. So Clark Jackson up to now 8 points, 4 of which came from the free throw line, but that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Cornell. Weiss from the corner. Long rebound. Kilgo and Kitty fighting for it. Collins comes down with it.
I don't know if Abby Shu's going to get credit for that offensive rebound, but she's the one that tipped it out and kept this play alive, allowing Cece Collins to drive left.
Collins now in double figures with 10. She has scored in double digits 9 of the last 10 games, including 3 in a row. Ingram trying to build some space between her and Weiss. Off the feed inside, she loses it again, and that results in a travel back to Columbia. And with that, timeout on the floor. Abby Shu, all alone, makes Cornell pay and moves up the scoring list in Ivy League history. Together. Columbia with a 21-2 advantage in fast break points, and this is the latest bucket, Maren.
History. Seems like every game she hits a new career milestone, either in for Columbia or for the Ivy League, and we see she's moving to the left side of that graphic one by one.
And number 9 will probably come very soon after this contest. And Abby Shu also looking to become the all-time leading scorer in Columbia basketball history, men or women. Camille Zimmerman is the only player that she has left to top. And Camille is still very much engaged in the women's program. We talked to Megan Griffith earlier in the week, and Camille's pulling for Abby to break her own mark.
That's a fun sign of a great program and great people in the program when you know and you want your records to be broken.
Raffu off the dribble again, and Susie Raffu wants to join the backcourt. 8 points for her on a perfect 4 of 4 shooting performance.
She's picking up in the second half where she left off. Those 6 points. Great spark in the first half.
Columbia's hit 5 of its last 6 field goal attempts, and Raffu trying to silence Pape underneath. 9 on the shot clock. Ingram takes over with 3. They bounce it to Pape, the difficult turnaround jumper. Did it skim the rim? And they're going to say now it was a shot clock violation. Kevin Farlow and Percio Reyes were a bit unsure, it seemed, because it seemed from this angle that we're sitting at, Martin, it may have skimmed the rim.
It looked like that from here. But credit Susie Raffi for not only having great presence on the offensive end, but for really closing Emily Pape's space there and making that a really tough shot.
Raffi leaves it for Collins, who bounces it to Stevens, blocked from behind by Kaus, and then a tie-up. Gonna get a jump ball. Possession arrow will go the opposite way. Zabby Shue will return. Collins heads to the bench.
Rachel Kaus coming in for that block shot. Nicole Stevens. I love her aggressiveness and her dog mentality. It's like she doesn't know how small she is.
Cornell on a scoring drought of 208. Kaus off the double. Good hustle there by me to grab the loose ball. 10 on the shot clock. Now we're going to get a blocking foul on Nicole Stevens. That is going to be her fourth.
The message was received by Cornell, crashing the offensive glass, being more aggressive, getting themselves to the foul line. Unfortunately for Cornell, they're not necessarily cutting into this deficit, but you see Nicole Stevens thinking that she's doing scouting report defense, taking away the right hand, but getting called for the whistle.
Ingram to the line where she is 3 of 4. Cornell has been extremely efficient at the charity stripe today. And just as I say that, of course, they miss a free throw. But still, 16 of 19 from the line. A team that comes in at 71% on the season. And Ingram able to salvage it. Ingram trying to slow down Abby Shue out on the perimeter. And a foul against Cornell. As Maya Watts, who checked in for the first time, was coming over from the help side. They're going to get Watts on the personal. That's number 1 on her. Another member of this incoming first-year class out of Hopewell Junction, New York.
Coach Smith said since Christmas, she's really taken her game up another step and really been much more impactful.
Kitty Henderson caught underneath the bucket, grabs her own miss, and reverses it in. Kitty's up to 15, and she is leading a balanced attack for the Lions. Cornell has not hit a field goal in nearly 3 minutes. Can they stop the bleeding? Abby says, not on my watch. Clear path, and lays it in. Defense to offense as Columbia breaking this game open thanks to fast break points.
Megan Griffith likes the balanced attack. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, she needs Abby Shue to score her baskets. She needs Abby Shue to establish herself, and that was certainly talked about at halftime as we're seeing the result of a different Abby Shue in the third quarter.
Abby now up to 9. Watts has her pocket picked by Kitty. And then it's stolen back by Jackson, the pull-up jumper. And she's in double figures with 10, and that is a new career high for her.
Coach Smith knew that was going to happen. Just how she's been practicing, that it was only a matter of time before Clark Jackson had a breakout game.
Fliss Henderson, the latest one, to continue to pile up points for Columbia, as the Henderson sisters have combined for 21. And just when it seems Cornell makes some inroads, the Lions have had an answer. As Kaus stepped out of play as she was trying to maneuver underneath the bucket.
It's great coach talk, coach speak to say move your hands, not your feet. Move your feet, not your hands. And that's a perfect example of Fliss Henderson having her hands out and finding the baseline, and Cornell really running out of real estate.
Columbia outscoring Cornell by 7 here in the third. As the Lions get hold for the final shot. Kitty Henderson will dribble it out here to reset. Kitty takes back over with 8. Inside to Fliss. Caught underneath the drop step. And the finish. Fliss Henderson, 8 points off the assist from her sister Kitty. And Cornell is going to have nightmares of these two as we head to break. 3 quarters in the books. It's all about the bench. Riley Weiss, Emily Pate for Cornell, and Kitty Henderson hitting shots and setting up her teammates.
And live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the Ticket Smart 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think Ticket Smart. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed at ticketsmarter.com.
So there is a look at Jonathan Schiller on the left and Jonathan Levine on the right. Chair Emeritus of the Board of Trustees on hand, and of course the court named after Jonathan Schiller, former men's basketball player, part of the 1968 Ivy League championship squad.
Really special that this is not the only game he's been at, but for the Columbia Athletic family and certainly the basketball family and the programs here, that there's so much support both for the men and the women from each other.
Columbia is starting the 4th quarter up by 20. Weiss, a wide open look straight away. Collins comes in for the board, the touch feed to Page, and Columbia spreading the wealth.
Great patience and composure as Cornell came out there with a trap on that first pass.
Columbia is plus 17 on the glass, highlighted by 14 offensive boards. And they're shooting over 50% from the field. Hard to counter that. 7 on the shot clock for Kilgo. Parker Hall the rebound. Inside to Pape, the handoff to Ingram. And that's a microcosm of what this game has been like for Cornell.
It really is. They've gotten themselves some opportunities. They forced Columbia into 14 first half turnovers. They've held Abby Shute at 9 points, and yet they're still down 22. Kind of mind-boggling.
Especially that last statistic that you threw out, with Abby under double figures. Exactly what Dana Smith said had to happen. And off the feed to Parker Hall, Cornell having a lid on top of this bucket as Abby collides with Ingram. We're going to get a blocking foul on Ingram. And that was a scary collision underneath.
Full speed ahead, Abby Shue. Lucky for Ingram that she was able to turn a little bit and not take Shue's elbows directly to the nose.
That was a freight train coming right at Ingram. And she happens to be called Abby Shue. Collins kicks it out to Shue. Off the dribble, the pull-up jumper. And Pape there for the board. Cornell shooting just 32% from the field. And they're not a three-point shooting team. And just as I say that, on cue, they solve the riddle. And a turnover on Abby. That is number 20 for the team.
That's just a lack of focus. A little bit of a lazy pass. No real pressure. Shue looking ahead to what was going to happen next.
Now, I want to redeem myself. I mentioned Cornell not a three-point shooting team. I've got the numbers to support my cause, just so the audience doesn't think I was just making that up off the top of my head. 26%, dead last in the Ivy League, and you need that, Mar, in all seriousness, in a situation like this.
Well, for teams that do have prolific three-point shooters, or at least two players with the green light to shoot behind the three-point line, a deficit can be closed much quicker with the three ball. For Cornell, they don't have that luxury. They can throw it inside to Pape, Parker Hall, and look to get the 3 points the old-fashioned way, but just as much harder.
Collins picks up her fourth, goes to the bench, and that is some move by Emily Pape. faking the pass and slithering down the lane. She's up to 19. And Columbia will utilize a timeout as Megan Griffin felt her team was having trouble getting it across midcourt. And with that, we will step aside. Lions trying to hold off the Big Red. Emily Pape fooling the Henderson sisters inside.
New York, the Wembley Center.
So here's a look back at the last time these teams met here in New York City. The final game of the regular season, Carly Rivera setting up Jada Patrick to seal it as Columbia celebrated its first ever Ivy League regular season title. All smiles on the court here inside Levy and Jim as they would tie Princeton in the regular season before ultimately falling in the semifinals at Princeton in the Ivy League tournament to a red-hot shooting Harvard team. This year, madness will be brought to New York City as Fliss Henderson off the inbound, sealed off. Stevens off the dribble, had room, could not get it home. Kilgo quickly back the other way, spots up. Loose ball goes into the hands of Beam, and Cornell is back in business here.
Another offensive rebound for Cornell. And going to take it inside. Scoop no good for Summer Parker Hall.
Susie Raffu using her 6'1" frame to fluster that shot. The Lions trying to milk some clock here. A handful of dribble handoffs. Fliss kicks it out to Page with 10 on the shot clock. Kitty calling for the screen. Kitty on Pape goes reverse and draws the foul just as the shot clock was winding down.
Kitty Henderson always does a nice job with that in and out to create a little space for her. And you do see Pape's left arm get Kitty Henderson.
Number 2 on Pape. Team second. That is the one element that has troubled Kitty Henderson throughout her career. And she is 1 for 3 today and 62% on the season. And they have missed 5 free throws as a team. And you can make that now 6. But Kitty follows her own miss. Fliss is there for cleanup duty. And another second chance opportunity. So with 10 on the shot clock, Stevens going to work with the right hand. And she will now head to the free throw line. And if you're Dana Smith-Martin, you have to be wondering, as we look at the last bucket here by Nicole Stevens, how the player that missed the free throw managed to get the rebound to give Columbia a second chance.
Lance, that's what gives coaches gray hairs.
And you avoided all of those throughout your career on the sidelines.
No.
Just trying to paint
No.
an accurate picture here.
No. And I didn't give my coaches any gray hairs either.
And Stevens continues the troubles, but Cornell cannot get the ball out of this side of the court. Raffu has it poked away by Pape. And finally, Cornell, after a year and a Sunday, crosses the timeline. But we're going to have a stoppage of play here. A substitution. As Cowles checks in and Parker Hall will head to the bench.
Parker Hall spent some time on the ground there. in some pain. So when Cornell had possession and was not in the scoring area, the sub was let in. 24 on the shot clock here. Cornell needs to continue to run their sets and build some habits. This is a long Ivy League season. This is only game 2 for them. What growth can they make? What confidence can be built?
Cows hands off to Ingram. She's got 7 on the shot clock. An awkward Euro step maneuver, and they're going to count that, plus the foul. Maybe not necessarily the prettiest maneuver en route to the bucket, but they'll take what Columbia offered them.
And Ingram looks to be a little shaken up as well. But if there's one word here, it's aggressiveness. I'm not a referee. If I was Megan Griffith, I'd be irate that that was not called a travel, because Kitty Henderson and Fliss Henderson get called for travels when she doesn't think that they travel because of their version of the Aussie step, not the Euro step. I'm not sure.
They definitely had some international flavor. We'll leave it at that, as it was the 3rd on Perry Page. What I thought you were going to say before you interrupted yourself is you're not an official, but you try to play one on television.
No, I don't want to be one on television. Or in real life.
Avoiding putting on the zebra shirts, essentially, as we have another whistle underneath. And this is going to go against Cornell. Emily Payton, she'll pick up her 3rd.
Under out of bounds opportunity for Columbia. They're so efficient.
They go top of the key to Shu. Shu has 9, and she's going to stay there. Fliss Henderson, another offensive rebound. Out to Shu for 3. It rolls out, and finally Nee comes down with the rebound, but they're going to get her on a travel, and it will stay with Columbia.
Cornell has struggled to secure the defensive rebound the last couple of possessions, giving Columbia multiple offensive rebounds and second chance, third chance opportunities.
They go inside to Shu, trying to create space, and with the left hand, floats it in to get her into double figures with 11.
For Columbia, it's not about getting Abby Shu her points. She's going to get points. She's going to climb charts. It's about getting Abby Shu into her rhythm. And right now, other players are in that scoring rhythm. And keeping your hot hand, your best player, feeling good is so important.
And that'll keep Abby Shu feeling good, because she gets another easy bucket underneath. And just like that, give her 13.
Let's give a lot of credit to Cornell. She's had to work very hard for those 13.
Well, that's why we keep emphasizing, if you're Dana Smith, you're going to look at this box score and you're going to see that your defense held up against the #1 scorer in the Ivy League. As we have a foul here against Columbia. It's going to go against Collins, and that is going to be her 5th and final foul, so Kitty Henderson will replace her. But the problem is, Maren, once again, the offense for the Big Red not holding up to complement what they accomplished on defense.
And Dana Smith said that that was an area that they're working on.
Cows leaves it for Kilgo as the freshman teaming up for that much-needed trifecta, as that is just the 3rd made 3 of the afternoon for Cornell.
That's the first 3 points for Cornell's second leading scorer.
Weiss called for the travel. That is turnover number 22. Cornell has scored 27 points. As we look, it's a season high in turnovers off of these mishaps. But other areas have come back to play them. Kilgo trying to dump it off to Pape. Stevens wins the battle between her, Pape, and Nee. Kitty underneath to Shu, goes reverse, and it bounces in. 15 for Abby, who has come alive here in the 4th.
Vance, I feel like this is the opportunity, or this is the moment that Columbia is just imposing their will. their experience, their length, their athleticism wearing Cornell down.
Specifically on the rebounding front, Maren, Kitty Henderson is now at 11 boards. That matches her career high. Stevens trying to bounce it to Fliss. It was last touched by Jackson. It will stay with Columbia.
Stevens had the right idea. And Fliss Henderson just, if there's a moment that she looked like a freshman, maybe that was it. A step slow in anticipating that type of a pass.
Kitty gets it inside to Abby, leans forward, and draws the foul with Jackson all over her. That'll be number 2 on Jackson. As both teams now going to their respective benches. Ingram replaces Kilgo. Page gives Fliss Henderson a breather. And Cornell's going to try to sneak in one more. Maya Watts back in as Rachel Cows takes a seat. Abby's 1 of 2 from the line today. Coming in this game, had a nice stretch. She made 10 of her last 11 free throw attempts over 4 contests. That's an area of her game that she has worked on over the years. Not just making the free throws, but also more getting to the line.
Becoming more than just a three-point shooter. This year she added a bit more of a defensive presence to her game. With that comes the rebounds.
Pate on Page. Unable to get the bounce. And back the other way comes Columbia. They'll now look to slow things down as we approach 3.5 minutes here in the 4th. Columbia has been shooting over 50% this entire game as Abby in and out. Dangerous pass. Abby chips in on the defensive side. 2-on-2 break. And Abby able to draw the foul as she will earn yet another trip to the line. Foul's going to go against Ingram. And that'll be her 3rd.
You see the steal by Abby Shue, reading that long pass. Attacking the rim.
And we look at how she is trying to get past Camille Zimmerman. Look at this, the points add up on cue. Some toys that our production team is playing with here. As the Abby Shue watch is on in the upcoming weeks. She moved that much closer thanks to free throws. As the game of musical chairs continues here for Cornell, Watts is going to head to the bench. And in comes Cows.
It's because of her relationship with Camille. Abby knows that the record's there, but that's not part of the daily conversation. That's not what this team is focused on, and that really speaks to how Megan Griffith has created a culture of team basketball, of hard work, of trusting each other. Also reflective in their assists. They've got 22 assists on 29 made field goals today.
They have a few blocks as well. Rafuse length continuing to create issues for Cornell inside. And Megan Griffith now advising her team to slow the pace down as we approach 2.5 minutes. It's a Columbia team that is riding an 8-game winning streak. Cornell has dropped 2 straight. They get it inside to Page, who somehow scoops it in with defenders all over her.
Wow, that is called splitting the defense or splitting the trap.
And with that, a timeout here on the floor. Cornell wanting to discuss its game plan down the stretch here with Columbia on a 7-0 run in the last 2:13. They've been extremely efficient. The rebounding jumps out, specifically thanks to Kitty Henderson, as she now has a double-double thanks to that rebound, and then even helping her sister's cause as Fliss grabs a rebound. So don't accuse Kitty Henderson for being a selfish basketball player.
I don't think anybody in this Columbia program would use Kitty Henderson and the word selfish in the same sentence. But your question earlier was, how does the player who shoots the foul shot become the rebounder? They have the best vision. They can see it.
We look at the upcoming schedule for the Lions. They will be home again right here Monday afternoon, with Yale coming to town before they then head on the road to play Princeton and Penn. And then Harvard and Dartmouth come to town in the back-to-back on February 2nd and the 3rd. And, of course, you can see the majority of those games here on ESPN+. Here's Cornell's upcoming schedule. They will head to Penn on Monday afternoon, returning home to host Brown. Then Princeton on the road, followed by their back-to-back home set against Dartmouth and Harvard, with Cornell and Columbia, of course, being travel partners. But the schedule has dramatically changed, Martin, over the last few years. It used to be the grind of back-to-backs all the way through. Now you have a number of weekends, as we're experiencing here, with just one game.
They really elongated the season with only 8 teams in the league. It can get done real quick, but they've allowed for more time for academics, less missed school, and obviously more practice time. And I think that is part of why you're seeing these net rankings be so high. These Ivy teams get more practice time in. Oh, Lance. There we go. There we go. Lance almost had a rebound, but the Cornell Sports Information Director, MJ, got us, stole the pass, and was nice enough to give the assist. If there's an assist,
it was a handoff. I don't know. I don't think the official score is going to be that nice and award me the effort to grab the rebound. I was in prime position, hands were out, okay? And I was...
We're seeing the replay
right on point. Well, we're going to have to cue up the replay. Susie Raffu deflected it perfectly to me. I didn't have to reach. I didn't have to jump. And you know I need all the help I can get in that department.
Exactly.
Golden opportunity.
Instead, Matt,
just take it away.
Matt gets the rebound, not you.
I'm just happy that it's only one game this weekend, because I'm going to need a full week to recover and recuperate.
Make sure you drink your fluids.
Trust me. I will fully take your advice. And Susie Raffu and Kitty Henderson will head to the bench along with Nicole Stevens, or Stevens is going to get ready to return. It's a lot of activity here with hockey line changes as Dana Smith going to the bench. As we see Sarah Hathorn in for the first time, Jada Davis, Lexi Green is back in with Cows, and rounding out the group is Val Garcia Martinez, the senior out of McAllen, Texas. For Columbia, Mary Lobone in for the first time, as is Blau Tor. Nicole Stevens will give Riley Weiss a breather. Perry Page. And Abby Shue still going strong here in the final minute 40. As it's a 9-0 run for Columbia in the last 2 minutes and 48 seconds. As Abby's up to 18 points. It's amazing. In the blink of an eye, she's doubled her point tally, and Cornell steps out of play. That'll give it back to the Lions.
It doesn't take long with the skills and the range that Abby Shue has to go from 13 to 18 or 9 to 18 in a matter of a short amount of time.
They hand it back over to Stevens. Abby in the corner for 3. And Cows grabs the rebound. Hathorn gets it right to Shue, and Abby's up to 20. And that is what you call the exclamation point. As Columbia is just going to get Abby out of the game now, and they'll resume play, so they won't have a formal stoppage.
Substitution timeout.
So Shue has now scored 20-plus points in 10 of 15 games this season, including 5 of the last 7. As we see Hopti Calvo, the freshman out of Spain, making her 3rd appearance this season. They go inside to Cows, working on Stevens. Short, Lobo the rebound.
Nicole Stevens is getting called for getting tied up there with Rachel Cows, who had a nice post move. Almost made it more challenging than it needed to be. But Cornell will regain possession.
That was the 5th and final foul for Nicole Stevens. And she and Cecilia Collins have fouled out of this game, so that's going to lead to free throws for Cornell. Cows 1 for 2 from the line today. 73% on the season. And we talked about that number 60 Marn for the Big Red. Because coming in, they have scored more than 60 just 3 times in 13 games. And unless we see an offensive outburst in the final 40 seconds, it's going to be 3 out of 14 contests.
And as this young backcourt grows and matures, has time in the summer in the weight room, more practices, more skill workouts, their shooting percentages will increase, their low post skill set will also increase, and their point production will come, but it's going to take some time.
So they took a look and noticed it was 14 fouls. That's why we're not going to have free throws here. So there'll be a possession for the Big Red. It's Garcia Martinez losing the ball. Weiss back the other way. Calvo the runner, and Calvo's fouled, so she will head to the line for the first time in her collegiate career. As they get the foul on Lexi Green, and that is number 1 on her.
Riley Weiss got that steal, eyes up the entire time.
And Calvo's free throwing opportunities kick off with a positive start. And she is 2 for 2. And that makes it a 13-0 run in the last 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Green will kick it out to Cows. And Cows called for a travel. That is turnover number 25 for the Big Red. And Columbia has 24. Both teams combining for 49 mishaps in this game. But it doesn't take away from the Lions' strong finish, as Columbia is going to extend this winning streak to 9 games. An 82-53 victory over Cornell, as Columbia